innovative content, global audience.
To a global audience, ladies and gentlemen. My name is KRIS, and this is Politics Show on SRTV. I am coming in a very quiet form today, just to push in some important. It's a very important show that I really want to continue, but the time is kind of odd. I'm asking my team if they can give me another slot, but for now, we maintain this slot. So I hope you all had a beautiful Sunday, and I do have a wonderful one. Actually, I went to the Church of England today, and the Reverend Father is actually Reverend Sister. The priest is a woman, and she's already had some kids, and it's quite interesting. We're going to see how religion has really been used to, whether it is for good or for the damage of Africa. We'll discuss that. But tonight, this afternoon, I have a show which is going to be on Robo Television. That will be a dry show with Princess, but this is SRTV, and we'll be discussing just politics. And but the topic I put forward is a very, very complicated one. I'm a little bit scared. I don't know whether I'm allowed to talk about this. I hope I don't offend people in the course of this presentation. And if you can see under my name there, I titled it The Origin of the Word Nigger. And this is very important for us to understand where this word is coming from, how it originated, how it has been used, and what we need to learn from it. It's a difficult one, very, very difficult topic. And only very smart people can understand where I'm coming from tonight. Like I said, I don't know whether I should talk about it, but I will try and discuss this without any political vernacular. How do I put that? With any racial vernacular, with any discrimination vernacular. So I'm going to be fair, but I will be sincere in the approach of the word. First, I want you to understand where I'm coming from. I've been looking at the word nigger from the word Nigeria and Niger. Okay, I said I'll be looking at the word nigger from the word Nigeria and Niger. And if you look, you see, I had to give credit to a very wonderful writer. He's a Nigerian. He's actually the president of the Canuck in the UK. He drew up this wonderful article, and he actually inspired this discussion tonight. His name is Ayo Akunufe. He put up a beautiful article, and I'm going to quote him on one of those things. And he said that we should understand that the word Niger, I don't even want to look at the word nigger now. Let's look at the word Niger first. Do you know the word Niger? Hello. Where does that link? The word Niger originated from the word, it's coming from the Act of Apostle in the Bible. And I want to remember this Act of Apostle. He said, it is a... Niger is a person in the book of Acts of Apostles in the New Testament. He's mentioned in Act 13, verse 1, as being one of the prophets and teacher in the church of Antioch. It reads, in the church of Antioch, there was a prophet and teacher, Barnabas, Simon, called Niger. So the man named Simon, also called Niger, Lucius of Cyrene, I don't know, who has been brought up with Herod and Saul. So it's very important to know that there is a man in the Act of Apostle called Niger. I know most of you went to church today. So this is I'm scared to talk about religion because sometimes I know we are made up of religion. What we believe, so you dare not temper people's religion. So I'm going to be respectful when I approach this. But perhaps for history to judge us right, and for those of us that can read a little bit, read in between lines, it's good to do this. So in the book of Acts of Apostles, if you want, go and read your Acts of Apostles, chapter 13, verse 1. There's a man called Niger. Now, Niger, I call it Niger. Nigeria today will call it Niger. And I want to bring it quickly back. I don't want to look at River Niger now. I want you to look at Niger, how the French colonized a part of the Niger Republic. When they were sharing Africa, the British took their own part and the French will take their own. The British took us, those of us today, they call it Nigeria. And the French took the other part called Niger. But actually, we are Niger Republic. So for those of us not who don't care about what is happening in Niger, perhaps we are one and the same. Because we are coming from the lineage of a man that comes from the Act of Apostle called Niger. Acts Apostle 13 verse 1. Go and read and consult. And I will not go into much details. But before I delve into the topic of today, there's something that interests me. And when they talk about the coup in Niger, I'm going to call them Niger Republic. Quite interesting. But I don't know. The question I want us to take away today is, what is a coup? I assume that a coup is a forceful takeover of power by a particular set of people, be it military or otherwise. So if you forcefully take over power, we take it as a coup. And it's punishable, it's a treasonable felony in any state. So let us understand that. So a coup is when you forcefully take over power. So there's a coup currently going that happened in Niger by the military juntas. And that is a coup by all definition, because that is the one we are familiar with. My question today is, what about those who forcefully take over power in a civilian way? I bet they are civil, so they cannot be forced. But by the time you illegally take control of authority by any standard, is that not a coup? Because you've done something against the will of the people. Perhaps African leaders must learn to understand that until there will be no, but Mali said word war, that there will be war until the philosophy which holds one superior than another. I'm talking about race. Because within the same country, some people are superior to the others. But what I really want to say is that until African politicians learn to respect the rule of law and allow elections to be conducted in a free and fair manner, they are actually committing coup. And that is treasonable felony. It's no different from what happened in Niger Republic. But who am I to say that? I'll keep my mouth shut. All right. Let's come back to the word Niger. So if we understand Niger Republic comes from, I'm careful, come from the Act of Apostle, and there is the Niger Republic. And if you look at the story of slave trade, you see, actually, slavery wasn't happening between black and white. It wasn't restricted to black people alone. They were within the European country, they were taking themselves as slaves just the way we're doing in Africa, until a time came when it's just a little bit under the African continent, there was a little country there where slaves were restricted to black people. And that is how the word Negro, that was the nice word to use for us. When Negro, were black people, that is the definition for black, which is coming from the Niger, because we're the biggest black. You can imagine that if you put the Niger and the Nigerian Republic in one, that would have been the biggest black population. In fact, today, still Nigeria is the biggest black population on earth. So if you had combined us, we would have formed a very big size of black people. So they call us the Negroes. And they took us away. And from there, they look us down and they use the word nigger on us. So I want to use the word. From the man in the Bible that used the word, out of authority, we have a man called Niger. And now, the man might be, and maybe we're a descendant of the same man, the Niger. The Bible described him as somebody with a darker skin. Go there and read it. Very important. He's a man with a darker skin. So that man might be our ancestors. And they use that to name that area, Niger. I don't know whether history is correct, but I want to take this. I want you to ask yourself. I want us to research this. But perhaps what is really important today is the word nigger that came from there. From Negro, Niger, the French took one part. Is it by coincidence that the French, they took their part, they call it Niger Republic. And then the British took the other part and they say we are Nigeria. Niger. Maybe it's from River Niger. Who knows? May God save us. Ladies and gentlemen, it is time for Africans to take certain things. I am not really going to blame the white people today. Yeah, they came, they took us as slaves. But I want us to look at this concept of how the word Negro has, or nigger, or Negro has been turned to nigger and used to look down on us and used actually as a tool. But that's not really my interest. You know, in my last, when I define slave discrimination or racial discrimination, I said it's anything that kills talent and creativity. I didn't even look at it from any other way, from the point of black and white. Let me put it this way. On a good day, there is something I call positive discrimination. By nature, discrimination is a natural thing. My skin is thicker than yours, is darker than yours. It doesn't make you better than me. It's just that we are different. Your skin is maybe is pale, or how do you describe the skin of the Caucasian? And our own is not actually black, because I don't see this. This is not black color. I see the color of my camera there. I can call this black, but my skin is not actually black. But they call me a black man. See, the same way they call me a nigger, the same way they call you a Negro. Maybe it's coming from the word Niger, but it was a term used to look down on black people. See the word black, I don't like it. And that's why we of the new generation don't like, you don't call us black people. We are called African, whether we are African, British, African, American. You don't call people black, because where is the black in our skin? And where are you white? Where is the white in your skin? That would be a discussion for our kids to answer when they are in class with them. They're going to ask, how could you be superior to me? Or how could you say you are white and I am black? You are not having a white color. I know the color of your skin. I have eyes. I can discriminate the way you can. Your color ain't white and mine ain't black. But is that the real true problem we have? I always say, you don't have to like me. I always say it every time. You don't need to like me. What do I mean? Not every black person, or I carry the same color with me, likes me. I've talked to a lot of black women. They don't want to go out with me. They don't like my look. They don't like how I behave. Does that make it, does it mean they're discriminating? They're not discriminating my skin. They discriminate me as a person. They don't like me. They don't have to like me. They don't have to agree with me. So that the person, the Caucasian, that's how I'm going to call them tonight. I don't call them white. That the Caucasian doesn't like the color of our skin. Wouldn't have been an issue at all. The issue came when it was used as a tool to take us as slaves, used to look down on us and continue to look down on us till tomorrow. And then the word nigger came very successfully and they have used it well. That looks good. It's an interesting thing to see that we have been looked down upon by a particular set of people. And it's very good today when I say, hey, we're going to go and fight. We're going to break their head because they've looked down on us. That is one way to look at it. On a good day, what I do know is when a particular generation cannot take care of themselves, they become slaves to others. Let me put it this way. When a particular set of people cannot take care of themselves, or they forget where they're coming from, they become slaves. And you will agree with me that some people who were among Africans were partaker in the slave trade. So it wasn't because there was no way the white man would have been able to come and take us as slaves only by their work. I don't like the work. The Caucasians. In fact, it wasn't only them. We were actually using ourselves as slaves. So slavery, like they use themselves as slaves. So let us not limit our challenge today in the 21st century, the discussion, the debate of nigger, negro, this, to being black and white, or what they did to us, which we know they will pay one day, because they cannot take us as slaves. We work, we build, we did everything, and they refuse to pay us money back for what they suffer. We suffer for them in Europe. But anyway, and in America, they will pay us. There will be reparation. One day, a particular generation will say no, because power do change hands. Now the power is in their hands. By the time the power comes back to us, they will pay us. But let's put it this way. Let's just try and think. You know, maybe my thought, my thinking, my mentality is always about the economy. I've never discussed any issue without looking at the political. Politics doesn't interest me, but when I discuss politics, I look at it from the economy point of view. Now, my people, they say to you that we Africans will have everything on earth. Is it true that God has blessed Africa with everything? Okay. So they bless us with everything. We have all the natural resources. And the truth is, we have a lot of intelligent Africans. Do you agree with me? Now, yet, we have not been able to come to a stage where we are able to take care of ourselves. And today, we are slaves. If you like it or not, a beggar is a slave. A debtor is a slave. So their definition, modern slavery, doesn't have to be somebody that take you away. By the time you enslave your people, you take the whole money, you carry the money to even Europe. Or let's put it this way. Now, if you don't agree that we are slaves today, that we have put ourselves slaves, do you know how many of us, the poor Africans, struggling to cross the Mediterranean Sea to come and serve in Europe as slaves? The way I know, the way I can define that is the kind of job we do when we come to Europe. You would do it in Africa. Now you are begging to be slaves. I can tell you the 90% of Nigeria, the young 45% of Nigeria will jump at any job opportunity in Europe. Now, they're not coming here to be happy. They come not to select the kind of job. They're coming here to run out of poverty. It's not the land that is bad, though. They are running out of poverty the way I ran out of poverty at a point in time. So there is a new slavery which we are now we are now the one begging for it. Take us as slaves. That's what we're saying to Caucasians, because we couldn't take care of ourselves. And yet you're going to tell me now, before we say two things, Africa have everything. Everything is in Africa. I agree. But how come that we cannot even take care of ourselves? That's a very big one. So Nigeria have oil. We'll still go back to this foreign country to refine the oil and bring it back, and they sell it to us. Are you a slave or not? Okay. Tell me one thing Africa has been able to do for themselves. Now, let's not blame them now. The Caucasians did the damages and they are there. But what about me and you? Let's put it this way. Now, the thing that got me confused, it was a part of my discussion in a show yesterday. Knowledge is not different in America. You can see the Chinese use the same knowledge. The Russians are using the same knowledge. In fact, technology they are using, this atomic bomb. One America got atomic bomb, Russia got the same bomb. You don't try me because you know you have what I have. Don't dare. You see, India went and did their own. Pakistan did their own. Do not dare me. That's what they're saying. You don't try China because they can protect themselves. The question I ask is, I'm not even looking at the weapon point of view now. What has Africa, can you protect yourself? Have you been able to think that you are an idiot, that you are a slave? Because they can just sweep you. They can take your wife. Because in those days, forget about these Europeans now or what we are saying with the West. In those days, when kingdoms were, they will conquer one another. They take all your wives, your children as slaves. They will what we're doing. When they, in fact, in those days, when the Benin will conquer your area, they will conquer, they will carry everybody there as slaves. All your women will be taken as slaves. You don't have a wife. If somebody conquer you, you have no wife. They will take everything. It happened. And it's the same thing happening now, because by the time you misbehave, the West will tell you, you don't have anything to protect yourself. Shut up. We've seen it in our time here. There are some cases where they go to some country and say, hey, you president, run. If you don't run, we will take you. The only reason they're able to say that is because you couldn't protect yourself. Let's put it this way. I know this is a very sad thing. Saddam Hussein was an evil man, but they told Saddam Hussein to run from his country. If he doesn't, they have to kill him. And they catch him, they make him, and you see, just the ruin. I'm not saying, I don't want to go into the justice or what is just or what is unjust. But what I'm trying to say is that when a country or when a particular set of people refuse to protect themselves, they are always taken as slaves. Okay, let's put it that way. Now let's go back to the Bible. That the war part of it, the military part of it is not interesting. Let's look at the story of Joseph. Joseph's brother sold him as slave. He was taken to Egypt. So he was in Egypt. Now a time came when they were hungry. And they have to, in fact, they have to beg. They have to leave their area. And they went to the same Egypt where they sold their brother, and they were looking for food. And that was how their journey left wherever they were given into a land where they become slaves. So, in other words, when you cannot feed yourself, you become a slave. Because that's what happened to the children of Israel there. They couldn't feed themselves, so they went out of their land to become slave. You cannot be in another man's land and be expected to be treated the same way like the people. Even Jesus Christ didn't allow it. For those of you that go to church today, Jesus said it is not right to give the food of the children to the dogs. It's up to your interpretation. I'm not going to go into that debate. Don't look at me. But the question I have for you tonight, to this beautiful afternoon, as we have come down from church, we've gone to worship, is, have Africans been able to take care of themselves? And if not, why? Now, I watched a very beautiful video just now of how some African leaders who tried to do the things right were being murdered, massacred, given bad names, and they were killed. We know what happened in Zaire. We know how they trace the story of Abiola, that he was killed by the West. Nkrumah was killed. Yes. The question is, if that is the truth, what are you doing as an African to protect? Because now, from my analysis, if you cannot protect yourself, you'll be taken as a slave. You can't go to Russia. That's what is happening now. No matter how crazy the West, no matter how they want Russia to die, they can't dare, because they know Putin has power. You try Putin, he's going to throw bomb back. You don't want to try him. You're going to respect him, because the only reason you are respecting him is not the man you're respecting. It's not the policy you are respecting. You are respecting what he has. You can't dare, because he will strike back. Had Putin been Nigeria, president of Nigeria, they will not catch him. They will tell him, make it run. But you can't tell Putin to run. Where are you telling him to run to? Who are you to tell Putin to run? Meaning you need to protect yourself. I'm saying this without mincing words, and I'm not afraid to say this. Africans have not been able to protect themselves, so they are automatically slaves. They find another definition for it. I don't care. But that is a bigger word. Because what I found out, and in my analysis, I say to people every day, there are two ways you can be powerful. Rather than having a nuclear weapon, if you have economic power, it rules the world. That's what Clinton said. Rich economy rules the world. When you have food, people will come and beg you. They will not come and kill you to take the food. This is not how God works. Africans are slaves today because we cannot feed ourselves. Fact. Is it not true that our children are on the Mediterranean Sea, that the KRIS is in the land of United Kingdom? I'm 56 years old. I am still in another man's land. Because my home, if I go there, I probably will not get treatment. I will not get good food. I will not have electricity. I have not been able to take care of myself. That's why I'm here as a slave. And I don't expect to be fighting people in Europe that, oh, in England, that, hey, I must get what they have. Is this your land? Is this your home? Why are you here? What happened to your place? What happened to where you're coming from? Wake up. Today is not a day to be happy. For some reason, we've been called niggers. Anything, what's up, nigger? Bad word. And I said today, when I started this show, I started with how the word started. It's actually not a bad thing. It happened in the Bible. A man was named as Niger in the Bible. Look at the Acts of Apostles 13, verse 1. If you go there, you will see how the word nigger comes from the word there, and now Niger Republic. That's why I'm interested. And I have gone further to tell you that a coup, I wonder, but that's my real topic tonight. Where I want to zero in is the independence of the African continent, or of you black people, as they call you. Actually, the independence of Africa is going to depend on two things. One, we should be able to protect ourselves. You can't try Russia. They will fight back. That's why the West have not gone there. It matter how Russians are killing the Ukrainians. Nobody in the world is happy, but can you try them? You can't try China. China is world power. And that's why when they sit on that table, they have veto. Only a few countries in the same United Nations have veto. No one African country have the power to say no to anything. So they can just take our wives and our children and we are there watching. We don't have military might. That is fine. But another thing we would have been able to have was we have natural resources, right? And the world kind of have conscience. The West are not that evil. If we have something and they're going to take it by force from us, the world will not be happy. Even their own people will say no. That is if the leaders want to. So meaning you can't call these people evil, because there are some people within them who will not take evil for evil. They will say they know the difference good and over evil because God ruled over this world, which is a fact. But how come that we've not been able to take advantage of what God has given to us? Because if we had planted or we have grown food and we are selling food to the rest of the world, which is what God has given to us, today we will not remain slaves. Let me put it this way. Holland made over 20 billion from agricultural export in a year. The land, Holland as a whole, is not as big as Niger State. I want to use the word Niger today. So we're talking of whole Nigeria is annoying. Only Niger State in Nigeria. You know, I was talking to the governor of Niger State, and I wanted him to come and tell us the economy, the agricultural potential in Niger State. Only Niger State can feed the whole of Africa. Let me repeat it. Only Niger State can feed the whole of Africa. Why are we not doing it? Why are we still looking for chemical food from Europe to feed ourselves? Our food would have been organic. We will be selling organic food to the rest of the world. They will buy it because they want to eat good food. They don't want to eat this organic food. But instead, they are selling organic food to us. No. If you dare tell me that our problem is the white man, or I don't like the word, they are Caucasians, you are mad. They are not our problem. Our problem is me and you. We have so disgraced ourselves so much. We have been so stupid that we don't know more what we're doing. Is this the right way to go? Can you continue to blame the white man for this? Is he responsible for your problem? That to two things, you cannot get independent if you don't have food to eat. You cannot be independent if you don't have military might. Like I said, it's easy to go and take Russia because Russia is doing something the international community doesn't want. Nobody dare them because Russia will defend themselves. In fact, you can't even try as small as India. You dare not try China. But you know what? They can tell Nigeria run. In fact, they take Nigerian leader like Joe. That's why Tinubu cannot say a word where people are talking. Tinubu had no power. And you know what is so interesting? In the midst of all this, we are still fighting one another. We're still breaking head. We're still telling people this one is not good, this one is not good. When is all this going to stop? I wish I can talk to the new generation of Africans. And I would say it and I think this topic, I want to keep it again and bring it in, and I'll be apportioning the blames to every single person, one of us. We all have a blame. You see, when I go back to the Bible, I see the Joseph. And when I see this new generation, I call them the Joseph of our time. If you are in Europe, in America, Germany, wherever you are Joseph of our time. Because the same way they sold us, so Joseph, that is how we are here, as slaves. This time, some of them will choose to be slaves. Some of us, they forced our forefathers to be where we are. But that didn't stop Joseph from showing love to his family when they came. Now, Africa needs you. If there's something you have done, you've gained in Europe, which is what Joseph got. He got knowledge. He was well trained. He was loved. It's just the same way if you're here now, you have some kind of love. Before today, we are crossing the road, my manager was filming how the law is here, how the thing is here. The minute you've seen the goodness of God, how many of it have we been able to apply to our daily lives? I don't know whether I am making sense. Today is not a day to shout. It's a day to reason. And unfortunately, my guests are not online, so I will not be able to get them in to discuss this topic. But I felt I should give you this little story of where the word Niger came from, which came from the Bible. We have the Niger Republic. Today, there's a coup in Niger, the Niger Republic, which is the French part of it. French people are wicked. The French are very wicked people. In fact, the West will learn one day that no matter how many of us you kill, you're actually punishing yourself, because the independence of the African continent would have saved you. You say you don't want to see us here, but the next thing you go there, you go and take all the resources we have. You don't have conscience. Today is not your day. Today is the day I'm talking to my fellow Africans. What have they been able to do? Now, when I come back, I'm going to take a quick break. When I come back, I want to say something, which I'm going to relate to how stupid we are really as Africans. You see, knowledge is the same. The same principle. Or, let me understand, when you go to Harvard University, like Roland said yesterday, the law of physics, or the three laws of motion, let me show you the easier one. Action and reaction are equal and opposite. It's the same principle that God used to create the world. God created this world with principles. And that's what you go to school to study, which has been revealed to man. The principle they used to make aircraft is not limited to people in Europe. It's there. How come that Africans have not been able to say, okay, now they've done their own, I want to do my own? We don't need to say we don't need to copy them. Sometimes you don't really need to copy, but the knowledge is not from them, it's from God. The knowledge has been revealed to a particular set of people for the mankind to grow. It's not meant, because the knowledge to make an aircraft was not made for the white man or so-called Caucasian. That's why the Chinese can use it. They are not Caucasian. They don't look alike. Indians are doing it. How come you cannot do it? They cost us, and we cost, that we cannot make a simple thing. The same knowledge you went to, in fact, a boy go to school and study all these 5 years, engineering. Yeah, he cannot do one single thing. Meaning we don't apply the knowledge. What is knowledge? Principles. Do you go to study physics? Do you study principle? Are you applying it? Does these African leaders, do they even know what it means to rule? Let's just come back and discuss that a little bit, because today is a bad day. We cannot continue to do the same thing and expect things to get a different result. All we still do today in the continent of Africa is use coup to take over power. Niger State have done their own. The military juntas have taken over. In fact, in Nigeria, where we came from, we saw how fraudulent election went. That is a coup. That is a civilian coup. Taking power by force. You know the people don't want you. You forcefully take it. What's the difference between you and what happened in Niger? Stay with me, because when I come back, we're going to look at that carefully.
SRTV. Innovative content, global audience.
That's how we do it here. It's innovative content, global audience. My name is KRIS, and I'm just here. It's a Sunday morning, and when I discuss politics another day, I will be more thorough. I'll be more aggressive. But today is Sunday, a day we went to church to worship. So I want to see our problem approach, the political issues approach from religion. That's why I came to you today, and I use the word nigger. Every black man in the world will associate with this word nigger. It offends you. How dare you call a black man nigger? You make noise, you want to carry a gun. The word nigger can be used, and we'll use it well, like we are using it now. Hey, what's up, my nigger? We know how to use it well now, because we make fun of ourselves with it. It's nothing wrong with that. It's not the name the man calls you, it's the name you call yourself. They will start running to nigger if nigger has something to offer them. They start running to nigger if nigger can protect themselves. If they have nuclear weapons, we have nuclear weapons. You misbehave, we misbehave. Russia misbehave. Listen, NATO cannot try Russia. Russia cannot try NATO. They respect themselves. There's a boundary. Even down to North Korea, you don't try them, because that one ready to die. He will just tell you, don't try me, I will try to test weapon. Africans could not do one single thing. You know what we are good at? We are still deceiving ourselves. You see, what I'm confused today, I was saying, how come Niger Republic and Nigeria is not one country? What's wrong with that? What stops if we are big? They having EU has grown because they come out, the European Union. Before, in those days, you know how much the Dutch market was the highest money in this part of the world. It was so high. It was so low. Not compared to, it was good, but not compared to American dollars. American dollar was higher than them. In fact, there's a country I stayed before. I got married there, Slovenia. They were using Slovenian dollars. It was like a piece of paper. You know what these guys did? They came together. They formed a force in the name of European Union, and they had a single currency. That currency is now higher than the US dollars. In fact, the euro is now competing with the pounds. That's the power of coming together. Yet in Africa, oh God, we are breaking up. The French has taken Niger, and the British take Nigeria. And we have mouth to say today that French colony, we are even proud to say we are French, we are English. You're stupid, you're an African. You goat. I can never see people. I've never seen a set of people like us. I wish I didn't live in this time. It's a wrong time to be alive. To be a part of a cursed generation. And I just imagine, you know what I've been observing? I did a show in the UK called the Nigerian Week, and I saw the Nigerians that came in. And I can see the way they respect everything here. For them, this is big, this is God Almighty. God you're talking about is like God here. But what have these people done different from you? Other than they begin to respect one another, there's respect for human being. They pay you decent wages, which we can. It's this thing we are talking about. The difference between the West and here is not rocket science. In fact, let me put it a simple way. I have been fighting to the Nigerian government to pay the decent wage. Decent wages will mean minimum salary should be 250,000 naira in Nigeria. It's still an insult. On a good day, it should be 500,000 for us to live decently in Nigeria. And they say they cannot pay. How can you not pay? As long as you use human labor to achieve anything, it should be paid a decent wage. The society will flow well. The man building 50, 20 houses. Do you know how many people? Only one man in Nigeria have some mansions. All the estates you see now, they are owned by private fools, thieves. They were village fools who got into political offices, and they have. I know now that this comrade, Ashimole, a man with dignity in those days. And now he has gotten a lot of money. He has an estate. If you see the number of the estate he has in Abuja, you will be sick. Baba Nalai, you are good. I thought you were a human being. So is this what you do? And soon you will die anyway. I'm happy because none of you are going to live. The next 20 years, you are off. These people we're talking of now, 20 years from now, they're not even use the pennies again. So I'm happy. I'm happy you all are men. Soon you will die away. So God have a way. God have a way of reducing us. God took only one thing from us. The only power God took from us, human being, is actually time. There's nothing God can do that you cannot do. Let me repeat it. There's nothing God can do that you cannot do. In fact, God has limited his power on earth. He has given it to you. God is not coming down to create electricity for us. It is not for us to create electricity for ourselves. He has shown us the example by teaching us with the sun. And from sun, human beings have been able to know that we need light. And now we created electricity. Unfortunately, Africans are not alien to electricity anymore, yet we couldn't create it for ourselves. Let me say this. The technology of electricity, is it new? Most of them, in fact, there's some robo guy who is in Spain here. He can create electricity for Delta State, but yet we don't have electricity in Delta State. What is wrong with us? This is too, it's so, when we're talking about, it's not as if we no more have the knowledge. We now have the knowledge. So when you say knowledge, we know the principle, what generates electricity. We have changed it down. We saw the principle that generates electricity, yet we don't have electricity at home. And we're blaming who? No, that's why I said God created us in his image and likeness. It's the same knowledge he gave to the white man. It's the same principle that we have. The principle, if you go to uni, the same thing they teach there is what they teach there. Instead, we refuse to use our own. What we do today is people like Tinubu. Sorry, Baba Tinubu, you're my president now. But people like idiots like you use power to win election. Use money to win election. You buy people. You are evil. And is this what we're going to do for the children? Is this what our children expect from us? Is it the Nigeria we're talking about? In fact, it doesn't matter for me today whether I'm even Nigeria. My pain is the whole of the African continent is dead. Niger now have gone. They imitate you, sir. Tinubu, what you did in Nigeria is what Niger imitate. They now went and they took over power. The military junta took over power. There, what's the difference? Their own is by military power. It was even a bloodless coup. Your own was more bloody because as you were winning, do you know how many people that died during the Nigerian election? And what is now wrong with us? Now we know we have the power to do everything right. We can feed ourselves. Only Niger State. It's no rocket science. I use it again and again. Niger State can feed the whole of Africa. Yet we are hungry. We go to bed hungry in Nigeria. People in Niger State can't even feed. Your young people have gone to uni to study engineering. They can generate electricity. Yet we couldn't generate electricity for ourselves. And you said we are not slaves. People of those generations, any people that behave like this, they are always sold as slaves. Now we are here in Europe as slaves. Every Nigerian want to Japan now. They want to go as slaves. You cannot leave your land and go to another place and you say that's your home. And so you want to be president there. That's what you people think. Oh, we want to be accepted. Now we are winning elections. I heard one Nigerian man won the election in Colorado. One won this, one won this. You guys are animals, man. Even, you know, it happened in the Bible. Joseph was in the foreign land. He became the prime minister in Egypt. But he was still a foreigner. God said you have to tell them to go home. If you don't like my message tonight, go to your church and preach. Even when Joseph was a prime minister, this was not the home of the children of Israel. Wherever you are now, it's not your home. Your home is dying. Your people are dead. What you see in Africa is a show of shame. How can a people as good as us, with all the beautiful land, with all the natural resources, go to bed hungry? The same technology that the white man used to grow farm. In fact, I sometimes, you know, when I talk about this and I get confused. What does it take to grow food? I don't understand. What does it take to grow food in today's world? When you can grow food in 3 weeks alone. Do you know that? Let me put it this way. I have a lady, a friend, she's a reverend sister. She's a lecturer at the Nasarawa State Polytechnic. And a Greek woman. She's from my place. She called me and we got talking. And what she asked from me was about 500,000 to grow some chicken which we sell during Christmas. That's more money. They were, you know what the funniest thing? They have the poultry already in place. So she's going to only buy bird and use the school to grow this bird and we'll still make profit. And I said to myself, okay, if we have all these things in place, how can 500,000 naira be a problem to Nigerian government? You guys are stupid. There's something wrong with us. You know that if we can grow, if I go to my village and we want to fish, it costs nothing to engage the young men in my place to say, we buy one big ship trolley that can go into the sea and fish and bring food back. Do you know how much they will make by just buying a ship and getting the people to go to work? The Nigerian government has engaged a lot of people to work, and they will fish. The fish will come back and bring a lot of jobs, and they will feed a lot of people. How come? Is it rocket science to go into the sea and fish? Is it rocket science to float a boat? Is it rocket science to plant cassava? Is it rocket science to generate electricity? Go to Kenji Dam today. How many white men works there? Meaning the technology is now in our hands, but we didn't know how to use it. Are we not cursed? We should be now we are out as slaves. We are not saying we should be sold out as slaves. We are out. Africa as slaves. This one is not Oyibo that made you a slave. You choose to be a slave. The way the children of Israel left and went to Joseph, who they sold, that's how we're doing now. How many of these children are crossing the sea on a daily basis? They want to come to Europe. I am tired of doing this. The more reason I went out of these things. But I'm a broadcaster, I'll keep talking. I'm not proud of what I see. I'm ashamed. I said it's a wrong time to be alive. You know what is interesting in African continent today? The ECOWAS region, they are now talking about how they're going to make Niger to run, the military junta. That's a very interesting one. We don't want military rule. But is that the true problem of Africa? Is the problem who wears the cap? or who knows how to use the car. If a bloody civilian will forcefully take power and begin to abuse us, what's the difference if a military man abuses us? Is he not the same African? Does he not have the same unique color like you? What makes you better than him? You force the power by forcing it through election, killing people during election, making people to kill themselves so that you get the power. The same people now, these guys say, no, you can't do this, I'm taking the power. Which one is not a coup? My friend, get out. What a generation, what a stupidity. And this whole thing, we try to speak the grammar, but let's look at the true sense of it. There's a civilian coup and there are military coups. All of them are acts of taking power by force. We're experiencing it in Nigeria. We're experiencing it in all Africa. And the military doing it is different. I don't get it. Because you will not see people in the United Kingdom forcefully taking power. They won't do it. You will not see electoral violence or somebody using maneuvering. In fact, it will be discovered and it will be forced to resign. But are you saying that we don't have the mentality or the brain or the ability to comprehend things and do things right? What is wrong with us? I'm going to stop today because I intend to come back to this topic. It's not finished. I am coming back with a person to discuss. I will not take this topic out of my discussion in the next 3 shows. I want you people to help me discover the true meaning of the word nigger. By the time you choose to be a nigger and somebody calls you a nigger, it's okay. That's why people call us nigger. But have we chosen to say, okay, nigger can be a great name. You come and beg me. They will come and honor you, nigger. Let me put it this way. The same Europe where you have black people, the same UK where you have black people who are looked down upon, the same place where you have somebody with a lot of money, they worship you. I've seen Nigerians, those rich ones, come here and they worship them. The white, I saw this guy, so he had holiday. You see how the white people, they were Chinese. They were worshiping him. Is your money speaking? Saying bloody about the color of your skin. Don't tell me that shit. You refuse to create with the knowledge God has given to you. Knowledge is no more reading. I said, when I was reading one day, I said, God, something the Bible said is true now. He said, the Bible says something that true thing which was hidden from the wise and the prudent has been revealed to the babe and the sucklings. What is that? Knowledge. There's so much knowledge on the internet today that if you click, I think it was a big mistake to create the internet. What they study, I'm studying law now, and if anything I want to do, I go online. That's where I study, not the bloody class. They tell you don't use Wikipedia, but everything is in Wikipedia. In fact, now they said you cannot use it for research for your academic writing. But the truth is, all the knowledge are there. You don't use it as reference, but that is your reference point. You can write from there, and you don't just reference it. So who cares? If all this knowledge is now available to me and you, how come we can't even go do as little as feed ourselves? How come we can't do as little as making sure that election is free and fair? That we vote for the right person, that the person who won, who we really want to be at the helm of power. Can you say that of Nigeria? From the presidency to the local government today? Umba. And what are you talking? What defense do you have for that? You are a slave. You choose to enslave yourself. And until this is resolved, I'm sorry, failure will remain a self-fulfilling prophecy for us. I'm going to get out of here because they just made me some beautiful, wonderful Nigerian jollof rice. So I'm going to go and eat my jollof rice. The day is too beautiful to be miserable. So I'm going to get out of this misery and go and do great things and allow the young people to take over the show. My name is Daddy KRIS, and this is the Politics Show on SRTV. Let me recap what I said today. Today, I talk about being a nigger. Where does the word nigger come from? I trace it back to the Testament, the New Testament in the Bible. I'm not talking about the Old. Go to the Acts of Apostles, chapter 13, verse 1. I'm going to go and read it after this because I pick it from somewhere. And there they talk about a man called Niger. They describe him as a man with dark skin. The man is the man that we're talking today. You see, they know that. And from that word, they call the Negro. So it's not the bad word, though. Negro was not a bad word then. From the Negro was from the black. The Negro were associated with black people. And the biggest black continent, the place where you have a constitution of black people, is actually Niger Republic, which is the French part of it, and then in Nigeria. This, if you put them together, that is the rule of the black race. I don't like the word black race, African race. That man came from the Bible. Come Negro. When they took us as slaves, they want to bring us down at all costs. They start calling us nigger. That's the origin of the word nigger. So he didn't jump. The word did not come from nowhere. So it's not a cause, really. It's not a bad thing. And I only ask a question today. If the knowledge available to the white people, so-called Caucasians, they call themselves white, is now available to you, how come you cannot use your knowledge? If you say you've been able to use your knowledge, how come you cannot plant food and feed your people? Do the white people come to you and say, come and feed us? Your children are on the sea, trying to cross the sea to Europe, and you are clapping. You are saying you are clever. In fact, what a generation, what a wasted generation, what a wicked set of people we are. And now we see people like the Tinubu now, they having conscience to talk. When people are talking, you don't have conscience. Maybe you don't even know what you're doing. And people like us are just watching. And I want to say to people like me and you, for evil to exist, righteous men are busy doing nothing. You are angry now that I say what I say today, that I abused you. I'm not here to abuse you. I'm here to put something in your brain. That it is time for us to build an economy for ourselves. The knowledge is within us. Like I gave an instance. If you tell me that we cannot feed only 1 year, it's enough to turn Africa to a place where you feed every nation. Only 1 year. Now we have the people to do the job. The human being to do the job. We have the youthful population. The West don't even have that youth population. So the young people are there to do the job. The reason I say this, every day Nigeria turn out some chunk of youth corpers. Some of them are working in my service now. Meaning the young people are ready to work. Anywhere you send them to, they will serve. So yet we could not feed ourselves. The land is fertile, waiting to be cultivated. In fact, we kill each other in the name of, say, they take cattle, go here. Whereas you can create cattle ranches, and cattle will be everywhere. We can buy sheep's load from now. And how much does it cost to buy a sheep? And we'll go and fish, and everywhere will be full of food. Yet Africans go to bed hungry. It's a curse. We deserve to be slaves. Until we turn these things around, this thing will remain with us. And you know the truth. The leadership is where the trouble is coming from. I'm not even blaming them. Some of them don't even know what to do. But if you don't know what to do, why do you want to be there? I was saying it to my President General, UP. Who are you to be President General or President if you don't know what to do with the power? Why are you doing it? Or somebody told you are supposed to be President General now, or you're supposed to be President, or it's your turn. If not, it makes no sense, Baba Tinubu, that you got into a place, you have no plans. Because if you have a plan, Baba, the country will be moving now with speed because you come with it. Because Africa is in a haste. People are hungry. Now we've not been able to get one thing as simple as voting ourselves to become leaders. We're still using coup in Niger to get into power, and we're using civilian coup to get into power in Nigeria. The generation of Niger from the Old Testament, or from the Bible, what a cost. Let us all go home and think and pray that one day, hopefully one day, God will have mercy on us. I love what one man said today. A bishop wrote that beautiful article, and I'm going to end with what he said. I don't want to read all, but I want to give the summary of what he said. He said, the moment after independence, nations like Zimbabwe, like Singapore, like Malaysia, they went into production. Africans went into prayers. It's either you see one part of Africa dominated by Islam. If you are not a Muslim, you are demonic, you are this, you are an anti, or the other one, you are not a Christian, you are anti-Christ. What I'm saying now, I've offended so many people already. But I'm happy the bishops are saying the truth. I went to church today. It's the Church of England. My priest that I intentionally went there is a woman. Somebody I've given birth before. She said that the first time she went to church was for the baptism of her son. She was telling us for the baptism of her son. And she went there, and then the Reverend Father then said, you have a home. She almost gave me a home today because I feel belonging to that association, because that is where religion is worshipped, not with sentiment, but with reality, because religion is real. God is not fake. God is not imaginary. God is real. I'm going to end my show tonight. I'm going to end it there. My name again is Daddy Chris, and this is The Political Show. Stay blessed until I come your way again. Don't go away, because this show is not a pleasant one. But hopefully those of you that watch me, that dare to watch me, will learn from this. In the subsequent show, my guests will be here to talk with us. But today, I actually have some group of people who were to contribute, but for some reason they couldn't join the show. So I'm going to let it be, and we're going to do something better next week. Stay blessed. God bless you.
SRTV.